most Genzis we've been seeing have been playing really safely because the comps that they're playing against usually have a Malfurion. So you're dealing with that. You're dealing with the Tyrael as well with Holy Ground. So there's always super careful and super defensive, which means they get no value. If you're going to play super passively, if you're going to be in the back lines, then you probably should have just played another ranged assassin. You know, pick a Li Ming instead.
Yeah,
poke.
exactly.
But in this last game, you know, it was a similar story. The success we saw from Dami, specifically yesterday, was when he was playing hyper aggressive. And that's, I feel like, where Genji's strength lies. If you have the protection and your opponent doesn't have much to deal with the Genji, then that's reason to have his most power. So we're going to the Sky Temple. That will be map 2 here for Mighty. Pulling an MVP Black move to go into that second map of Sky Temple after the crushing win in the first game.
It seems like Mighty, we saw this coming up from L5 yesterday, where they really, from the talks of within their team, they don't think Genji is the strongest hero. And there are lots of ways to counter, and they brought out Sonya instead, which they think is the counter to Genji. And it's just from game number 1. It seems like Mighty doesn't even care much about Genji. And BlossoM is a team that's going to try out more of the things, and Mighty just bringing out what they're good at and making that completed game number 1.
Joker just with the Storm Bolts too, over and over and over. Built up so many stacks. Just wanted to highlight that one more time. That wasn't like the winning move for them or anything like that, but Joker terrifying on the Muradin right now, and I think they'll probably take that second rotation Muradin once again instead of the Tyrael. Tyrael did not do anything for BlossoM because they were so behind. And the one Sanctification with the Dragon Blade wasn't perfectly synced though.
They needed 10, but the game basically exploded before 10.
Yeah.
And it was very, very almost impossible to come back from.
Yeah, I mean,
points.
barring them just intentionally feeding, I don't think there's any pro game where like you're further ahead than Mighty was on Crystallo. The map actually plays like a recipe. It plays like an open book usually when you get ahead there, and it can snowball if you get the double tribute lead early and get 10 first. Insta-lock Genji, so we're seeing him again, this time with the Falstad band. I expect that Dahaka Muradin will be the play here for Mighty once again. They'll have global control, which gave them a lot of extra soak in the previous set. You could have the solo Temple Dahaka and come down for the team fight to split the shrines. I feel like there's so much value in him, and Joker's Muradin is so much improved. So there you go.
I think they can keep the same, and even try to have some more DPS. Instead of Sergeant Hammer, they can go a little bit more towards Vala and a little bit more protection. I think the Dahaka Muradin is already somewhat protection on that front line. Vala, with the Q Vala, can clean up the temple pretty quickly and also does tons of damage. So that will be a very nice way to finish off the team comp for Mighty and BlossoM. Let's see if they try something else this time. I'm pretty sure it's not going to be Malf and Stitches again.
Well, I think it's going to be Malfurion anyways, especially because you want to deny that pick for the roots. But yeah, I don't expect this is. I mean, this could just literally be a Malfurion Tyrael, and then the next picks are a little bit different. The Cassia, the idea was there. I could see it, but it's going to be Nazeebo instead. So they're going to leave Malfurion, and they'll probably ban the Malfurion here so that Mighty can't take it. So they get the Nazeebo for the late game scaling. Unfortunately, this map doesn't usually go too long, but Nazeebo can still just be very powerful as a ranged DPS. I mean, honestly, I think he might even be too strong right now. Just when you think about how much value Nazeebo gets and how easy he is to play, like, you want to climb up purely, go play Nazeebo right now. And people are going to rage at you in the draft, but when you top all the charts in siege damage, hero damage, and EXP, and you're a tank in the late game, you'll be like, oh, never mind, I see what you mean.
I think it depends if the opponent can figure out what to do. The strong counter, of course, is to bring down Nazeebo before 20 and try to finish the game before 20.
Yeah.
Have that early snowball, try to get picks. It's really, even if Nazeebo steps one more step away from the lane, it's really easy to get picks off Nazeebo because he doesn't have any utility skills on himself.
Yeah, he has no real escapes. He could try to use his wall to escape, which is very difficult.
He can trap himself, but that's going to just delay him for one more second.
So it's actually the Arthas ban coming out for Mighty. I think BlossoM will ban the Malfurion. Other options for bans are pretty limited. They could go down the same route and ban the Tychus. But Mighty showed that even with the Li Ming pick, wasn't an issue for them. You just want to stop those roots from locking Genji down. If you could predict where he's going to dash with a Swift Strike and you put a root there, or you just put in the dash path and he gets stuck there, he's not going to be able to cyber agility. He's way out of there, and then suddenly the Stormbolt comes down, the Dahaka grab, and Genji DED. So Malfurion ban, I think the most reasonable one here. The Arthas, I talked about it last game, like, I would have much preferred the Arthas over the Stitches to help Genji get that extra damage. It's going to be really good for Nazebo as well, so I like that ban for Mighty. We didn't talk too much about it. With Tychus available, Mighty will pick it up. So in terms of tank busting, they have this extra tool with Karazim as well, 7-sided. It will almost certainly be 7-sided with this draft. So many different ways to isolate the target with Dahaka, Muradin Stormbolt.
They have some lockdown, not target CCs, but still skill shot CCs they can target down. Isolate with grenade, and also finish off lows coming out from Karazim's dashes. I think that's what Mighty has been focusing since game 1, also since last week. They really wanted to go one global, have a balanced draft, have a strong team fight, join whenever Sans needs to join, and Sans on that Dahaka has been super scary all the time.
So let's see if they want to hook it up with some more hooks. Oh boy.
Double support!
What?
Let's go.
Like,
it's time.
For a second, I saw Uther's face in that skin, and I was like, is this a Cassia skin I've never seen before? And I was thinking it was going to be that old EU tactic of the blinds for Cassia for fen damage. But nope, it's actually Uther. So we've seen Uther with the Genji before. The blinds are going to be incredibly strong against Tychus and Karazim. Right. So, I mean, this is not normal, and I don't want to judge it.
Is this going to be the double Dragon Dream with Genji's Dragon Blade and Dragon coming out from Lily?
G-Clef, you just wrote fan fiction on my mind.
It's like bringing Hanzo into Heroes or something, man. It's crazy.
Yeah, well, let's see. I assume that it will be the Water Dragon. Like, think about it. Think about the Water Dragon with all the slows, and then Genji comes in with a Dragon Blade, and he's also got Divine Shield on him. And the other thing about this, too, is this comp for BlossoM is incredibly hard to kill. With Ethereal Shields, the double heals, blinds, and Nazebo's going to be able to do so much damage in the back. This is a comp that could actually delay the game and force a late game. Like, there's almost no way Mighty can snowball this unless they really, really win as hard as they did in the last game, which, like I said, is so rare and so uncommon. So let's see what people have to say about this one, as I'm sure the fans at home are getting a little bit hyped to see our very first game of Lily here in HGC Korea. Took us all season long down to our last day before we saw her, but she is in play now as we go into game number 2 on Sky Temple. In blue, it's real. Scarlet on Uther. Dudu on Lily. Wiz on Tyrael. So Judy will get his hand at the Genji, and No Chat will be on the Zebo. A little bit of a role swap.
In red, Mighty. Joker on Muradin. Sans on Dahaka. Maki on Tychus. Nasang on Karazim. And STE on Rag.
So Lily, in general, just does. She has. This is my first time casting a Lily game.
It is the first Lily from HGC Korea.
I used to mean like in my Heroes casting career. I don't think I've ever cast a game of Lily. But hold that thought. Dudu's gonna get picked immediately here.
Ooh.
So just gonna say Lily in general, with her ability to blind and her trait where she gets movement speed while damaged, it's very difficult to kill this little chimp healer. So we're going to see this be a 1-for-1 trade. Well done by BlossoM to get that exchange for them. It's really about the spider damage that stacked up. Hard to kill Lily. Who is the target in the team fight here? That's a pretty tough question to answer. You can if you get on top of the Nazebo, then you've gone so deep in. And if you try and target down the Tyrael, it's going to take you a long time. He's going to drop his Sanctification. I think Mighty is going to have to win this game off of picks, shrine control, and the objective more than team fighting. I think they're going to have a hard time with team fighting, especially because they don't have experience, as nobody literally in this region does, with dealing with this type of style.
I'm pretty sure Mighty was shocked to see the first Lily coming out from Korea. Of course, Lily is pretty common in EU, and about Uther level common in EU especially, and sometimes in NA also. But this is the first Lily from Korea, and
like ever.
Ever, yes.
She was used one time in round of 8 in Super League in 2015.
One time in Super League.
I remember that day in Yongsan. The crowd was hyped, but they lost really bad. And they said in the interview they just did it for the fans. But I think it was Snake versus.
Not even DK. It was
no, it was
some other.
Oh god, I can't remember. I remember the game, but anyway, so this will be like the second time in Korean history we see Lily. I've been on analysis desks overseas where I've commentated drafts of Lily, but in Korea and even when I was in Europe casting those, I've never cast a game of Lily. So it's my first time, and we'll see if this works out.
Lily is a very.
You can see how annoying it is.
Yeah,
like
the blinds are coming in, it's canceling out all the damage, as you can see.
Yeah, it's just like so annoying to kill this hero. You struggle, and they actually control both temples.
Lily even just got nerfed because she was such a strong hero from lots of EU games too.
Yeah. I think it's definitely a lot of it comes to the solo queue impact, but it affects pro play too. We're not on that patch though, actually.
It's right before the nerf.
Yeah. So that will be for playoffs.
These are some of the things that lots of Korean pros say the supports without escape, without the dashes or to root someone else for your escape. That's why Uther or Lily we barely ever saw before Uther's rework, and we barely see Lily. That's exactly why Korean pros do not use those supports.
Yeah, think about other supports that are viable, okay? Karzim has incredible escape potential with his dashes. Rhaegar can turn into a wolf and get away immediately and have extra movement speed. Valfurion has the ability to root whoever is chasing him, so that's sort of
whoever comes in, you can do Twilight Dream and turn the team fight around.
So I mean, there's like some pseudo escape there from Valfurion, but heroes like Lily, Uther, not so much. Morales, or the reason why she's not really that meta, just no way to get out.
That's usually the thing, because the opponent team will really highly focus you every single team fight and try to pick on you from the beginning of the fight. But with this double support, I think they can sustain super well. And their goal is to go to late game, as you said. I think they're really already starting so much better compared to game number 1. And Mighty's draft really heavily depends on their auto attack with Tychus and Kerosene.
Yeah.
Lily's blinds, of course, going to help a lot during team fights.
And we've seen it already, right? And it's just going to continue to get better and better. When they hit 10, the Water Dragon is going to be super powerful. I don't think we're going to see Cups. Just doesn't feel like a viable option in this situation. So they did also not take Cleanse at 7. She took the Lightning Serpent instead. So going to do some extra damage. So they already have Uther, so...
The Uther doesn't even have Cleanse. There's not too much CC coming out from Mighty's side. Only Q from Murdin and also the Haka's grab. So
I mean, there's a few, but it's like one of those things where you could just out-heal the stuns anyways, so you're not too worried about it. Okay, this is not going well for Mighty. As you can see, Nasong is now here alone. They've taken so much damage already, and the story really is no chat on the Zebo. He's doing so much damage while everyone else is just a distraction. It's so frustrating for Mighty because, as I was saying in the beginning, it's like, what do you do against this comp? How do you fight this comp? And I think the way is to do this. When you have the Dahaka, you split push, you get the objective control, or the Merc control, and you just split push. You just trade here, but don't overcommit.
So look at all those heals coming out. It's not that they're dodging all the shots of the Molten Core or the skills. It's just that they got so much heals for the sustain. And Uther has burst heal, Lily can heal over time, so BlossoM and Genji. That's exactly what you want. You have to really keep Genji alive and try to make this push as strong as possible.
So it's going to be a fort for a fort in total here. A little bit of extra keep wall damage done by Dahaka in the top lane. Uh-oh, this is going to be tough. On a whole lot of heals here. Oh my god. Haymaker. Not enough to get the kill though, sadly. Oh, Sans is trapped. Has to burrow to avoid the boss stun.
It almost seemed like he went for a cyber agility and then just stashed away, but it was actually Haymaker.
Yeah, wow. It was Haymaker. So, all right. 7-sided as expected. That's going to be another tool to try to lock down these targets and kill them.
Let's see if it's going to be double dragon. It is X-Strike instead, though.
X-Strike, okay. Well.
And Storm is the way it's going to be. That's why Scarlet is going all the way in. There's a stun onto Nasang, just dashes away.
Okay, the Divine Storm not going to be enough to turn the fight, though. Here comes the Dragon and the X-Strike. Sanctification.
That's how you do
That's what I'm talking about right there.
That was beautiful. Excellent work.
So this looks actually, to be honest, G-Clev, this looks pretty practiced. This looks like this is something they've been preparing for today, and not just kind of a, well, let's experiment, let's see if this works. Like, this seems like probably something they've been hiding. They're not going to the playoffs, so it's now or never if you want to use a strat like this to take another win on the board. Silver Touch is complete now. Around 720. I mean, it's going to be about, I think Mighty needs to get an early keep. But even then, they're looking for late game, and it's going to be tough against this Nazebo pick. There's the Haymaker. This is the isolation that Mighty needs to use to kill targets, and even still, they can't do it. X-Strike coming in again, and this is going to be a fiery battle.
Nazebo's taken out, so lots of damage actually lost. Judy has to turn this around with the kills. There's the first kill onto Murden.
Okay, X-Strike's going to be up in 10. Not going to commit to the fight. They had Divine Storm almost ready, so I was thinking we were going to see another big combo there. Didn't end up being the case. So, Silas is controlled by BlossoM. Mighty took the bad end of the trade. Going to leave solo Nasang on the bottom temple. Immediately the collapse is coming down, though. Going to lose that mid fort. Let's see, it's just Tyrael and Lily, but they should be able to really harass.
Flag and protection onto Judy himself. He can shift away just like that.
Okay, no chat's coming in now. This is going to be a lot more difficult to deal with. Here comes the Water Dragon. SDE is slowed and caught. Tries to use the Sulfuris there to protect himself. He's really struggling. Looks like it's going to be Nasang who dies first. SDE is going to be the second. It's a double. I honestly think, and this is crazy, but I think BlossoM is going to win this game, G-Clef. I mean, they're winning every fight.
They've really practiced and thought this heroic, like, I'm losing my mind too. But their combos, their heroic combos, the Dragon with the Storm, they're making sure that X-Strike can hit on multiple targets for sure. Even
oh, look at this.
Exploding hit.
Didn't even need the X-Strike to get the kill there. He's going to be sad that 80-second cooldown's now taken up, but he wants to get the killer here onto Joker. Not going to happen. We'll have to dash away, but they get the boss, and the remaining shots of the temple will basically be free for them. They have to be afraid of just one thing. It's the Dahaka split push. And they already have no chat up there dealing with him in the top lane. As long as they don't lose an early keep, they're going to maintain this game at least even, which gives them the stronger late game for the scaling heroes they have here.
Dahaka has been pushing this entire game, and he has been very safe up there. So that's why Mighty was somewhat able to follow up the EXP, but still, BlossoM is it's winning every single team fight, the small ones, the big ones. They have the CC comp, and Mighty, they're having a lot of trouble. I think Karzim must go with the Cleansing Touch on this one, though. Not 100 Fist. If he decides to go more damage, they're gonna have a tougher time escaping from all those CC.
Yeah, I think he absolutely has to have it. It's gonna be a big spike for them when he reaches 16. Oh, I think it would be suicide not to take it. By the way, Shuriken Master is completed now, so with so much more damage now going to come out for Genji. It's the extra 2 shots every time he uses his jump. Magi may just be dead here. X-Strike to zone. He does go down. The deflect comes out for safety. Nice
haymaker onto
a nice haymaker, but he sanctifies himself to get out. And they're just going to keep fighting this. He's actually super low now. But he doesn't have Avatar to save himself. Here's the Water Dragon coming in. They do lose no chat, however. So So with this 1-for-1 exchange, losing all their damage, they will have to back off.
Scarlet may have to use a Storm for the safety of his teammate.
There it is. Oh, Judy's going to try to carry this fight, though. Burrow coming in from Sads. They do have this Molten Core, but they still pick up the triple. You know what? I mean, there was an era of double support in Heroes of the Storm. It was very early on. This makes me terrified that it could return. I mean, this is just insane.
I love it, and the fact how Judy is playing this Genji seems to understand this hero so well. He's going in and taking the aggro, picking on kills, picking on to right targets. What a nice play coming from Judy.
I feel like this play wouldn't be possible without Nazebo, because Nazebo allows you to do all this extra damage that softens up the target so that Genji can get those big kills, using X-Strike as a finisher. Unlike we saw it used yesterday as basically like a combo heroic. It's like, I got moshed and then I X-Striked into the middle of it. And it didn't, nobody died, and then when the mosh wore off, it was bad. But using it for some mobility for the kills. And that's what you were talking about a lot yesterday as we were expecting to see it for that extra jump, that extra mobility. We didn't see it like that yesterday, but in this composition for BlossoM, it is absolutely the way to go. I was questioning too, you know, at first when I saw it, like, wouldn't Dragon Strike do a lot more damage? And could say yes to the answer to that question. It's at 50k hero damage now. But, I mean, this just seems to be the better option after seeing it in practice.
Northland actually went for 100 Fist again at 16. They want more damage. They want to actually turn this around with all the damage possible.
It's going to cost them in terms of CC, though. Okay, better position here for Mighty. BlossoM is going to have to give this up and back off. They have the push in the bot lane, so that's going to be eventually a big annoyance for Mighty. But they don't want to lose a keep here.
Here comes Judy and Wiz from the side. Magi gets very low, almost gets taken now. Seven-sided does not really strike on any targets.
All right, already Tychus is dead. One more heal coming off onto Judy. There's the big stun coming up. So Furious is going to connect here, but it's just not enough. And I feel like the lack of Avatar is also an issue for Mighty. They just don't have the extra healing. And only Nasong walks out alive. This is going to be a keep at worst for BlossoM. They could do so much more. They're actually leaving the extra shots to make sure they can get this damage done very quickly. They want to push with the Siege Giants. Picking on the Nasong first.
We'll go all in and then try to get Temple as late as possible because they are still not at 20. They will stall as much time as possible for Nazebo to hit that Vile Infection completed later on.
Notice the Benediction usage, by the way. He got it at 16, Uther did. So if those don't know what that is, it's the ability to basically have a cooldown instantly refreshed on you. It's an activatable, so you use it, and then whatever spell you use has a massive cooldown reduction, so you can basically go for 2 stuns. That's how it's normally used. But in this case, he's using it purely, and it has a pretty long cooldown, to make sure that everyone is healthy non-stop. And that's just one of the reasons why, and it's really a lot stronger with this new Uther rework, because he's going to give armor more often, he's going to have more heals for the Genji. It's pretty smart. I haven't really been inspired by an unusual comp in a while. I'm usually just really critical and kind of a grumpy guy about it, but today, I'm liking this, what BlossoM is showing us.
They're really making this CC look easy, but this is very practiced, and they're making it come true. And making us seem like it looks easy means they have practice. They can show this, and Mighty's going for this.
This is risky.
Lily combo. Genji's pretty away, and same with Lily and Nazebo at the same time. Scarlet's gonna come in for the Storm.
Oh, huge Storm!
Enough?
Okay, here we go. The Sanctification is the reason why this was a bad idea by Mighty. Now 20 is reached here. They didn't even lock in their 20s. They don't need them. That's going to be the wipe, and that is going to be game. With the boss pushing down the already destroyed keep lane. That is it. Vile Infection locked in here. Pierce for the Shurikens. Just so you guys know what they were picking. Redemption, which is going to help them kill it. And Nexus Blades for Tyrael. I didn't even know he had that. That's going to be game over here. The full wipe and the BM on the Hall of Storms. The bounces, they clean this one up. 22 kills to 5. Double support, Lily Uther for the Genji. Big CCs, lots of heals. Tell your friends, I think they just broke Hero League and Team League especially for the next few days. I guarantee you, I'm getting my friends together. I'm trying this one. And I don't think that is the last we'll be seeing of this composition. I think that will definitely make a showing in playoffs. So, wow. I am inspired. I'm a believer now. I want to see more double support. I want to see the Lily.
I believe in the Water Dragon. I knew it was going to come out and extra CC, the slow to hit onto the more targets to make sure they do that last bit chunk of damage onto X-Strike. And also, X-Strike was used for lots of different purposes, and Judy seems to be just super practiced on that Genji right now.
Yeah, which is weird because he's the tank player, but when you swap roles like this, man, that's how I want to see it. So Genji takes his second win in HGC Korea. That was a milestone. He's doubled his wins. It's a big day. That
game was insane. I'm pretty sure BlossoM has a lot. I'm pretty sure BlossoM has a lot more in store for you, but just not yet, because we are going to have a short commercial break. It's going to be about 5, 6, 7 minutes, right?
Yeah, something like that. But when we come back, we're going to have the rest of this first best of 5. See you then.